welcome to Celestial. We are going to do a tour with Sam Haynes. Hello, Sam.
Hi, Belinda.
How's it going? Thanks very much. Can you please show me around your beautiful boat?
Sure. Okay. Well, this is the Celestial TP52. She's in offshore race mode, ready for the Gold Coast race.
Terrific.
So you can see the wide open deck. She's a wide beamy TP52, 2011 built, dual rollock design. Come through and take a look. So from here, just looking aft, those are all our lines, our sheets. We've got the steering pedestals here, both sides. The boat also has a tiller system for inshore. She originally was an inshore boat, but now she's fully offshore. Those two runners there, one side is active and the other side is eased, depending which tack or jibe we're on. And they're really strong. Those runners will take, on this type of boat, a 7-ton max load is what we put on them. When you consider the boat weighs approximately 7 tons, it's quite a strong piece of engineering that's required for that. So yeah, pedestals here, there's a forward one and an aft one. They power through axle systems using these buttons to control which drive is in place. They control the winches, and that's what the winches are like. This is the pit, what we call the pit. These are all the control lines come to one spot on the boat.
Yeah.
And they're controlled by the pit man, and mainly to do with hoisting, sails. So all of these lead to halyards in general. Two of them go to the tack lines though, which are out on the bowsprit up here. I'll show you that in a second. So mast is here, goes through the deck into the mast base, which is below deck. This is where the jib controls are, and there's also outboard leads on this boat. This yacht in particular, but most of the TP52s will put up more than one headsail, and we can actually go up to 4 headsails, which being 4 sails in front of the mast. So it'll be a spinnaker, a jib top, and a staysail, and all of those need to have some way of controlling them. And so we have a lot of lead positions, and these ones here are outboard leads. Which we had engineered for the boat, especially for last year's Hobart. This is the bow, domain of our awesome bowman, Wolf Wilkins, and Wolfie has this thing sorted very well up here. He's a great bowman. We have 2 tack lines going off the bowsprit. So this is a 3-spreader carbon rig, Southern Spars, with EC6 rigging. Okay, well, let's go below and I'll show you around down there. There's still a bit of light.
Okay.
Echo to come through?
Yeah.
So there's a bit of a dark cave in here. You can see near your feet, the boat was Audi All for One as launch. So it's a Med Cup TP52. So the boat originally wasn't designed for offshore racing. It's been modified for that, and we've continued with lots of the modifications on the boat to improve its offshore performance since I've owned it over the last few years. Further up, let's go further if you can.
Yeah.
You okay?
Yeah, I'm good.
Yeah, so up here, that's the very bow of the boat. When we first had the boat, we had so much water coming into this yacht. It filled up right at the front there and almost like cascaded down like waterfalls through all these compartments. It just was awful. That was the first Hobart that I did on this boat. But since then we've done a lot of work to make sure the boat is much more waterproof. It's actually dry down here offshore. It's so important to have a boat that's got a nice dry interior as far as it's possible. When you're offshore racing. Frames here, this is part of what makes these boats more capable offshore. They're strengthening, and when you're offshore you'll hear a lot of noise in an area like down below in these boats. They're carbon with a foam core, and so the water is only just literally less than 2 centimeters away from you, and you just hear every noise that comes through that. You have to imagine what it would be like at night Very noisy. Again, as I was mentioning before, the carbon boats transmit every single noise through them. And when they're going fast, you can hear like a kind of a high-pitched resonance. They have a harmonic. It goes, ooh, you know, it sort of builds up as you're going faster and faster. So when the boat's planing and you're in your bunk, you're really sort of feeling how the speed of the boat and the noise of it that it makes. It's quite an experience offshore sailing. Yeah.
It sounds like the noise could be quite spooky.
It is. It's an eerie noise, and you can hear all the water rushing past as well. Like, I mean, I've often said with carbon boats, it's sort of like almost as though every single drop of water you can hear. It's they really do make a lot of noise going through water, just because of this. They're very solid carbon. It doesn't absorb any noise. It just bounces it around. Let's go back there, and I'll show you a little bit more down there. You can see the nav station there. The actual screen for the navigator isn't in place, but his computer is there. And his screen would be there, which is actually quite a large computer screen, so he can get all the information on one monitor. There's axle going across there, which lead to the winches, and this is all the drives, as you can see. Fully mechanical boat. All the power that's needed to raise sails or to trim all comes through those coffee grinders, the pedestals. The steering system comes down. This is where the wheels will be above us here. So if you can imagine being on the deck, the wheels are about here. Those are the columns that the steering cables go to. These boats are fantastic fun to sail. Like, they're very high performance boats, so they actually are enjoyable because you can really get a lot of sailing. You know, they go fast. They respond to being sailed well. So there's those sorts of things about it that are very attractive to the sport. And you know, I mean, there are beautiful scenes, you know, sunrises, sunsets, you know, skyscapes, you know, you see some beautiful stars, you know, things like that. Wildlife, you know, we'll see dolphins and whales and seabirds and all sorts of beautiful things out there in this race. But on the same time, yes, you are cold, it's wet, you might get, you know, seasick. You know, you look to sail as well as you can, but you know, you can be disappointed by your results as well.